This is the third of my weird talks to self or to you. It's once again, I was infused yesterday, and I'm now feeling very wobbly but also kind of high and focused in a way that I'm not at other points in the cycle when I'm probably more kind of myself in lots of other ways. I've been posting out copies of the novel as part of my Christmas promotion. That was fun. They're all gone off. And I've got accounts to do, and I've been Christmas shopping online and all that sort of stuff. And had a lovely time with Dora and Yuli, who came up sort of pre-Christmas, and Jack came up for Christmas, which was great because it now feels like we were quite right to get that in quick before the whole nation is swirling around the place, spreading diseases. Anyway, I interrupt this broadcast to become a YouTube influencer for a moment and promote this lot, the Little Red Tarot, and this book, All Our Stories, written by Beth Maiden, who runs it, and who sells these rather beautiful tarot packs, upgraded and radicalized. Great fun. And so my daughter gave them to me for Christmas, pre-Christmas, and everybody thought, wow, what a great way of, thinking about life and getting a fresh angle on where you're at. Of course, what we all did was poo-poo the idea that there was any kind of divination possibility that this thing could possibly tell you what was going to happen in the future. But of course, very quickly, that's what everyone seemed to become a little bit kind of interested about, slightly fascinated and fearful about. So powerful stuff, really. But I've really enjoyed just picking a card up every morning and seeing what it says and seeing what light that sheds on how I see my day. And then what else has been on my mind? I was thinking a lot about this notion of old age as being safe and stable and dull, and I think it's quite the opposite, as so many people are suddenly thrown into completely new circumstances. They're made single, or they're suddenly back in relationship, or they've got family living with them and then suddenly not living with them at all. And actually it's a very dynamic time of life when you need to be able to cope with whatever life brings to you and carry with you a sense of what you want in a kind of teenage way, I think. Far more than this idea of the sort of settled and insured and safe as houses kind of thing. Safe as houses that fall down very easily when cataclysms come along. And that's great. I'd love to find a way of presenting that. I mean, the Kaminsky method I've been watching on Netflix, slightly belatedly, and that's got that brilliant American kind of ability to be funny about all sorts of quite dark things. It also manages to make you sympathize with people who are kind of basically very rich and empowered, but they've got problems, and somehow they become they're sort of every people. And it's good on the whole thing about sexuality, which I've got a particular beef about. Isn't it weird when you get to a certain point, you're supposed to be quite happy to sort of jettison sex altogether. And yet you're also supposed to be able to kind of turn it on at whenever, suddenly people enter new relationships in their later lives and are supposed to suddenly function as normal. And for men especially, this move away from kind of erections and doing it into just sort of the sexuality being something that is yours, whether you use it or not. And also a whole new area of sort of soft sexuality, which I love, actually. The particular thing for me is that nobody warned me about it, but I found afterwards that although I had sexual feeling, I was told were called dry orgasms. There's no sperm coming out, no liquid. But actually, the orgasm is fully functioning and feels great, much more like a sort of female orgasm, I think. And also has that thing about it just being less kind of vital to the whole experience of what we've been doing, which is some snuggling up and fantasizing and pleasuring of each other and ourselves, and that's been very lovely. I mentioned a dry orgasm to somebody, my stoma nurse, I think, and it's been amazing. It seemed to lead to also all I've had since is sort of messages about how somebody very senior is going to talk to me about all this, but they never quite do, and I'm not quite sure whether they're worried that I'm going to sue them or whether it's just all a bit embarrassingly male and, you know, who's to talk about it. But one thing I wrote about in What Didn't Quite concerning this thing called Hinchcliffe's, which is actually based on Peyronie's disease, which I've had some experience of, which is a syndrome that makes your penis bend and sort of malfunction. Yeah, when I talk to the people about it, all the stuff is about this thing about what you can do to, you know, to perform, like all the stuff about Viagra, you know, just about somehow proving to somebody, whether it's your partner or yourself, that you can do it, rather than anything about actual your own pleasure. I think one of the great things, that amazing series, Sex Education, and the writings of the sort of pleasure activists just turn everything on its head, and they say, as you grow up, you know, you become able to kind of give yourself orgasms and pleasure yourself in different ways, and that's something you have the right to do throughout your life. And then it's something that at certain points you might want to share with other people and do it to them or have them do it to you or connect up. And as long as both sides feel comfortable about that, get on with it. That's such a wonderful, liberating kind of reversal of the idea that sex is all about, you know, proving you can do it to somebody else all the time, which tends to, I think, for both genders in different ways, to just cut them off from thinking straightforwardly about what they want. So that's enough on that for the time being. I'm only wearing this cap because my hair, it's not falling out, it's just going wilder. So I thought rather than brush it, I'd just put a hat on. And God, the thing is, I sound really sort of chirpy and up when I'm doing these, which is great. But I just need to sort of remind myself that this next phase, when the drugs finish, I've been getting really depressed and just feeling flat and knackered and spending a lot of time in bed, which is one reason why that's where I'm talking to you from now, more to sort of symbolize that than because I'm sleepy now. This also all sounds very self-obsessed, and I think it's just worth mentioning that having cancer also just makes you realize how many people cope with such impossibly difficult things and have to make their way through them, including all of us in the times of COVID, because this is really feeling like that, you know, we've all been doing this for a long time now, and change needs to happen. But we got rid of Trump. Surely everyone's going to turn on Boris next. Brexit madness carries on, but whenever it's done, then we can start undoing it or making things better, rather than living with this ridiculous shite idea for such a long time. Anyway, I'm still thinking about who I'm talking to. I think I'm mostly talking to myself and to the ether, writing on water, but also talking to a kind of nice sort of circle of Facebook followers and friends, and just a sense of a gang who are, you know, I'm in touch with one way or another. That's nice. And, well, happy Christmas. Lots of love to you all, and let's hope that 2021 is a damn sight better than this year. Bye now.